what innovations have come out of this last 15 months that we can all benefit from. What else is there?
Great. Okay. Well, listen, we're on the home straight. We're going to move into our final question. It's usually one that allows everybody just to give a little bit of insight into what they're focused on. So we've talked about how we've handled the last year and what a year that was. What are the technology leaders' priorities, or what should technology leaders' priorities be for this year? What are the key things that we should focus on? Matt, do you want to pick that up to start?
Cybersecurity for me. I mean, obviously, I'm sure, it's an obvious thing, as over the last year, ransomware attacks are up 500%. The cost of ransomware attacks are up 40-odd%. The remote working, the hybrid working has taken people out of that nice little fortress of your internal network, where all your good firewalls and security and processes in place to keep things safe, and into their own home, where pretty much anything can happen. They're going to click on things. Their awareness drops because they're sitting at home. They perhaps don't give maybe when you get a home email, you don't pay the same scrutiny as you would if you're on your work machine. Investing in cyber, investing in cyber policies, security, and BCDR. That would be my one.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I was reading my CISO sends me a regular scare report about stuff just to make sure it's at the front of my mind. Mm-hmm. It was sending me one on ransomware today, and I was reading it earlier saying, I think I've switched. I think I'm like, right, not how do we avoid this, but I'm assuming it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah. So what you do? How do you set yourself up in a way that the impact is minimized and you can recover?
How are we going to react when it inevitably happens?
Yeah.
Right?
How will you recover? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, that's good. Rennie, what about you?
Yeah, I was piggybacking on that. I was torn between two. I think there's some statistics around the growth around digital product and services increased 83% in 2020, and it's expected to grow even more in 2021. So therefore, you're looking at digital business acceleration, which then puts the scare on cybersecurity. So that was definitely one of mine. I think the other is it would be irresponsible, I think, of tech leaders to not embrace this change of the era of employee choices here. And we've all been talking about the need to adapt, but it is quite interesting, and I'll give a really quite quick relevant example. So we sponsor a lot of visas in our business, and part of induction, bringing new people on, even in a remote world, is you have to verify their identity and their passports. And HMRC has accommodated and been wonderful and allowed us to, HMRC, the Home Office have allowed us to check identities virtually, and all of a sudden they want us to go back to doing it physically. And it's just a bit like, but why would we go back? Like, why do we need to go back? If we have a process in place that works, why on earth would we go back to the way it was? For what reason? So it's just those things that I don't think businesses realize. It's just like, oh, well, the pandemic's over, so we can go back to the way of working. No, we absolutely must think about how do we evolve, and how do we grow from where we are, and how do we nurture what's great, and how do we fix what's not working in a remote world, and make that hybrid working model really work for us. So that's I
think that's one of the key takeaways from this session is don't just slip back, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Rick, what about you?
Well, actually, both of mine have just been stolen. So I also had cybersecurity. I also have an InfoSec director, and I ask him regularly, what keeps you awake at night? What should we be afraid of? I agree. All the stats on ransomware and all of the changes we've made to accommodate working from home have naturally eroded some of our own protection, and the landscape is getting ever more threatening. So I'm focused on that. And I agree with what you said, David. I think it's not a matter of if, but when. So how do you mitigate the impact? How do you lower your blast radius? And then the other one is in line with what Renee was just saying. I really think, how do we make the working experience as frictionless as possible for staff? What's the new future way of working? How do we, and that might include, to the point that that somebody in the audience asked about, where do you recruit from? What's the opportunity? Well, okay, we need to explore that. We need to work through what that is. I don't think it's as easy as saying we'll hire from anywhere. because you do need to consider what's the impact on the individual, what's the impact on the culture, how will it work, how do you make sure that it's a good experience. So those two for me are there. And since they've both been nicked, I'll add a third one, which is what innovations have come out of this last 15 months that we can all benefit from. What else is there? You know, you saw the rapid rise of little companies like Zoom. For a while, you couldn't get hold of a webcam, but you know, what's new? What I'm really new, not just a sort of acceleration of something else. I'd like to find that out.
Excellent. That's embrace the new. That sounds good. And Mohammed.
Yeah, I mean, we relate with a lot of, obviously, the data security element. For me, it's really taking all this new world and applying it to the way we deliver customer experiences, specifically in a lot of fields. And you mentioned, Rene, like the way some of the administrative kind of tasks with home office, HMRC still rely on paper is kind of incompatible anymore with this world. We see the same pattern with, you know, businesses or industries like pensions industry, or the financial advice industry, where there are people who more and more work from home, so they can't pop in like in the high street while they are out and about. They actually work. Their schedule is completely different. So how do we adapt to that? How do we also offer, you know, voice or video ways of consuming this? Are some of the digital products that are more aligned with this new world. So for me, some of the priorities really have to look at customer experiences and the technology we deliver in terms of services to see how we can adapt them.
That's great. I think you know, I'm with you guys a lot of the echoing. We have to say security or we get sacked from our job. So, you know, that's obviously there. I think that the people element, I don't know how you guys feel, but I've been doing technology for 30 plus years. I've definitely been promoted to my level of technical incompetence. So I feel that it's my job to really get the right people, whether they're permanent employees or partners, get them into a virtual room and get stuff out of their way so that they can do great work, whether that's around security, whether that's around building product, whether it's around moving from physical to digital. That's really what I concentrate on from a leadership perspective, and I'm just going to carry on doing that, getting out of people's way, and so that they can do their best work. That's what my leadership focus is.